What's up, guys, and welcome into the Baptist Health Studios for another episode of Dolphins HQ/Drive Time. My guest today, none other than Zach Sieler, is what I call him. But Zach, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Good. How you guys doing?
Not too bad, man. So my first question is, Week 14, right? You've played a lot of snaps every year, really, up to this point of your career. You play, 80% of the snaps pretty much every single game. What's that process like for you to go through a week and get ready to play that workload every single week at that position where it's so demanding?
Yeah, I mean, it starts as soon as that last game's over. It starts right away. I mean, actually, this year we're fortunate we got a cold plunge at the house, so we hit that every day as much as I can. Hot tub, and then just really kind of staying on my what is underlooked, I think, and we can overlook nutrition. A lot of people will kind of boots or this or that, or all these different gadgets, but sometimes it's as simple as just sweets can cause inflammation. Stuff can cause like water and just eating healthy. And that's my biggest thing to focus on during the weeks.
So my nighttime ice cream is not doing me any favors?
No, I'll tell you what, though. that might be my weakness, too. I went to chocolate chip cookies.
It's just too good.
I know.
So the cold plunge couldn't fit in the RV back in the day, then I'm guessing?
No. I don't think so. Yeah. They got some inflatables, though, now.
Yeah, you might be able to make that work.
Yeah.
So off this big win over the New York Jets, you guys get some late game, really all three phase. The defense pushes the Jets back for that field goal. Malik, the big kick return. Tua and the offense goes on the field. What was that like for you guys in a situation where you kind of had to have that game to make all those big plays? Take us in the kind of feeling of the team after that big win.
Man, it was great to be able to go through those highs and lows throughout the entire game, and then to come at the end of the game with that kind of momentum. I'm really sorry with Saran on that punt we had from Jake Bailey, and just go out there and just stop him right there, and then the defense to go out and get the 3 and out or whatever for one first down, and then the offense to go drive the field. It was just awesome to have that kind of just all three phases firing all cylinders at the end of the game and ready to roll. We just got to make sure we harness that and just emulate that every week from here on out.
What was your message to the guys on that drive? Because you get they have the big completion to Lazard that gets them into field goal range. Then you go TFL from Benito. You have the big sack, and then Kendall makes the play where they get Adams out of bounds, which if he doesn't go out of bounds, we probably don't have a chance to come back and tie that game. Correct, yeah. At least, right? What was the chat in that huddle before those plays? Because that's a spot where teams could woe was us. We're going to lose another tight game. But you guys stepped up and made plays right there.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I talked with AWOC. It was literally, hey, look, we need 3 plays. We just need to make 3 plays. They're in field goal range. We either try to knock them out of it by getting some TFLs and get some negative plays, or we can get this clock stopped. And that's what we made sure we did. And we were thankful we were able to make those plays and do that. And even then, the game wasn't over. I mean, then you had to go out there and do the kickoff, and then the offense had to go drive the field. So it was just 1/3 part of the finish of that game to be able to take it to overtime.
Have you guys gotten to the point now where it's like Tua has the ball late? You kind of feel like we're in good hands right here?
I mean, it's been great, man. It's just seeing that offense click and how they're rolling. The technicality between him and the precision and more so as I'm looking for with him, the receivers, O-line, run him, everybody. John doing those routes. It's just everyone's just clicking like that at the end of the game. It's just awesome to see.
That touchdown and 2-point conversion had to be it had to be perfectly timed up, and they both were big plays in that game. So I mentioned the sack. That was your 16th of the last 2 years, 6 this year, 10 last year. Did you know that you have the second most sacks among defensive tackles in the league since the beginning of last year?
I heard that this morning. I did not as of last night or until I heard that this morning. I think it just honestly just a huge blessing. God being able to gift me with to be able to stay healthy. I mean, we all know it's a huge part of this game, and be able to be out there and make those plays is just an awesome experience. Be able to do that for myself and the team, and be able to go out and make those big plays in those last few-minute drives and really take it and close out the game.
It seems like maybe I'm on social media too much. Mike would say that I am. But I always see Zach Sieler so underrated. It's like he has the second most sacks among, like Chris Jones is behind you in the stat. Like the guy that everyone says is the best defensive tackle in football has less sacks than Zach Sieler. So I always see this commentary about how you're the most underrated player in the league. And I was curious, do you hear that? Have you heard that from, obviously not friends and family, but have you heard it from just the discourse? And what's your kind of take on that?
Over the years, I've heard it. And honestly, early on, it was a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, you know what? Good. Okay, I can make that work. And I still love to have that there. And I still love to think, okay, hey, I still haven't done it. I still haven't proved it. And that's what I kind of help motivate myself besides my name, besides doing it for the family and doing it for the Dolphins. But honestly, I'd love to think that now I'm kind of making that statement where it's like, hey, look, it's not like that anymore. And look, I know I'm a serious competitor in the league, and I can go out there and make those impactful plays that at the most meaningful moment.
Yeah, you're scoring playoff touchdowns. You're running over the Titans quarterback on the goal line last year after a pick. Like, it's pretty hard to go under the radar when you make that many splash plays. Speaking of splash plays, you play alongside of a guy who's done it for 16, 17 years now in Calais Campbell, and he mentions you all the time. You talk about him and how much you guys have helped each other. How did that click so quickly for guys that got together in the first year and all of a sudden you guys play off each other so well?
Man, it's honestly, especially when they're playing in there like that, it's a relationship. I mean, not to make it weird, but like, it's, hey man, how do you see the game? It's taking that extra time, that extra tape, and like, what are you thinking here? And then I'm like, this is how I see it. I want to be able to see it from your lens. That's something me and Christian had going 4 years in a row. Was, hey, really 3 years. That first year we were kind of just figuring things out ourselves. But once we kind of got that rhythm going, it was like, okay, this is how I know he's going to play it. I need to play it like this now, without talking, without that unspoken word out there. And that's what Calais and I, with him being such a veteran and me being more on that veteran side of things nowadays, is being able to get that going ASAP and not taking a year or two, and be able to make that happen right now.
What's the mindset here coming up for a big game in Houston? You got a road trip here ahead, a chance to get back to 500 for the first time since week 2. What's your and the team's mindset going into this game?
Man, it's one more game. It's one more game. It's playoffs for us. It's go out there, study the tape, do extra, get the extra body work, the clean eating, all that stuff we kind of talked about before, and the extra time in the tape room, to really take it. These are guys that we don't play often. And well, I guess we have the last couple of years, but they're not typically on the schedule. And to be able to take it to these guys and to adjust to how they play the game and how they how we can play and play them at best.
Looking forward to it. Should be a fun one. 2 more questions here for you real quick. First year as a father, playing in the league, how has that changed your approach to football and life? Everything changes, right? How has it changed you?
It does. Man, it's been such a blessing. He is just the little terror in the best way possible.
I know.
But I started waking up earlier to actually do the plunge and stuff in the mornings, and I just had to do that much earlier now. But it's kind of cool with the time we come in and able to. He wakes up at like 6:30 on the dot, so it's really special. I can go in there, I'll wake him up, or I'll get him out of his crib, change him, kind of play with him about 10 minutes before coming in, and it's just such a rejuvenating feeling. Like, it just shows you like, hey, this is why I'm doing this, like for him, for my family, and everything. To be able to have those moments with him are special. So it's been awesome.
It's the stress reducer is play with your kids.
Yeah.
Takes away all the stress of life. Everything is just good after that.
Absolutely right.
It's great to hear. One more thing for you right here. We just had My Cause, My Cleats this past week. Sieler Safe Haven was the organization you represented, obviously, your namesake there.
Yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's my wife and I started about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we first kind of brought into light. And our biggest focus is really trying to get kids outdoors. I think a lot of times now we get so stuck inside, so stuck on our phones, so stuck in all these different things. And I mean, man, we were meant to be outside. So I think just getting kids outdoors and trying to spark an interest with somebody where maybe they didn't have that opportunity now. So we go outside, we go see animals or birds, trees, whatever, and go hiking, just enjoy God's nature. I mean, how he built this earth is just is a really big passion of ours. So that's what the foundation focused on, is getting kids outdoors. We did some stuff with the Seminoles last year. We're doing some stuff in Missouri now, where my wife's from, and hopefully we take some to Michigan and Tennessee as well, where we just kind of keep spreading out and just really just focus on getting another generation outside.
Oh man, I love that. My rule as a kid was the street light comes on, you have to go inside. So I was outside all day after school, every single day. I love to hear that, Zach. Great stuff. Zach Sieler, Dolphins defensive tackle, 6 sacks this year, 16 sacks the last 2 years. That's second in the National Football League among defensive tackles. Zach Sieler, appreciate your time today, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Success in the NFL is measured by moments. A final defensive stand and a big kick return, a clutch kick, all moments serving as an appetizer to the ultimate crescendo.
10-point throws by Tua Tagovailoa.
And who better to turn the keys over to than your franchise quarterback?
This team thrives when Tua is at quarterback.
In the second half of games this season, Tua Tagovailoa has posted a passer rating better than 120. And when the game was on the line, he found all of his favorite targets. While it was the Cheetah and the Penguin who brought the Dolphins even in the fourth quarter, Tua went to old reliable and tight end Jonnu Smith to kickstart and bookend the game-winning drive.
Touchdown! The Dolphins win!
This win personified the Dolphins' mettle, the rally cry that carries them through adverse moments. The moments that can define a season. From here on out, each win the Dolphins accumulate increases the importance of the following week. The Dolphins' late-game heroics against the Jets sets the table for a pivotal matchup against the 8-5 Houston Texans. The Texans, fresh off of a bye and playing with a 2-game cushion in the AFC South, are looking to solidify a second consecutive division title. But these feisty Dolphins won't make it easy. As is the case most weeks in the NFL, this game starts with a pair of marquee quarterbacks. Both Tua Tagovailoa and CJ Stroud are at their best when they are processing the coverage, executing well-orchestrated offensive schemes, and playing with high-level anticipation and accuracy. Like Miami, Houston is loaded at the skill groups. All the stars will be out for this one. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Devon Achane, Joe Mixon, Jonnu Smith, Dalton Schultz. This game is a fantasy footballer's playground. On paper, it might look like a shootout in the making, but this league has a funny way of flipping the expectations of the script on its head. Hoping to do that for the Houston Texans are 4 key playmakers. Watch out for edge rusher Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, one of only 2 duos in football that have a combined 20 sacks this year. And on the back end, Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen Petre demand the quarterback's attention on every single snap. If Miami can neutralize those nightmares off the edge and prevent Petre and Stingley from making their plays, they could continue to light up the scoreboard as they are averaging just under 28 points per game since Tua made his return back to the lineup. Big game means we're bringing out the big guns this week with South Florida native DJ Bien-Aime. He covers the Texans for ESPN. DJ, welcome in, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this week for some time.
Man, what a fun matchup. I'm curious. Somebody asked me about Tua's blitz numbers today, and he's been sacked 22 times. Only 4 of those were on the blitz. He's completing like 75% of his passes against the blitz and has like 110 passer rating. Like, you kind of get burned if you do it, but D'Amico's the kind of coach that I would trust to cook up a good rush plan to come after. What do you think he might do on Sunday?
So D'Amico only blitzes he puts on only 30% of his job. I think like roughly like around 27. I think third downs is when he blitzes a little bit more. The issue for me is, does he trust Jimmy Ward, Kalen Bullock, and Eric Murray in coverage to do that? I know he'll trust Sting. And I know he'll trust Kamari. The issue is, I think he'll do it on some third down. So third downs is when it will happen. The issue is, it's going to be high variance. So some plays where it works, some plays where it might go for 50 yards. You know what I'm saying? And is he okay with that? You know? Because as much they've caught 16 interceptions, second most in the NFL, but they've given up the most passing touchdowns in the NFL, I believe, at 25 or 26, one of the two. So they're a high variance defense across the board. So that I'm really curious about. We'll see in that regard. I think he'll try to cook some stuff up. I think for me, it's going to be more about how the Dolphins adjust in the second half, because the second half is when the Texans fall apart. Because Bobby's going to cook some good stuff up. Early drives, the Texans will probably have 10 points at some point midway through the second quarter, and maybe able to score one more at the end of the second, because they average like 15 points in the first half. It's the second half where everything falls off a cliff.
Well, hopefully for the Dolphins, they get off to a hot start, because they've kind of struggled to get out of the gates in these big-time games. And to your point about the coverage, it sounds like maybe in Jalen Waddle's first game back in his hometown, maybe he could have some opportunities for a big day out here against the Texans. Just real quick, DJ, finish up for us real quick. I usually ask the Texans could win this game but this is such a big game and a fun matchup. I just want to ask, what's your lean? What's your gut telling you about how this game might go on Sunday?
Man, my lean is all over the place, mainly because like there's 2 ways for both teams to win, and like the Dolphins, obviously they just keep doing what they're doing. Like especially last week, they'll be able to move the ball. The issue is, will Danielle and Will wreck the game in that aspect if the coverage on the back end works? It's so up and down. So I think for me, like it's really going to come down to I think. It'll probably come down to which kicker is on, because both kickers have been pretty good from 50 yards. So if Kami's on, then, Texans will win. If Jason Sanders is on, then I think the Dolphins can win. I think both offenses will have some success moving the ball. It's just really going to come down to probably who has the ball last, in all honesty. At that point, the quarterbacks would have seen everything.
Yeah.
And then, kind of go from there. But I'm leaning right now. I'm leaning towards Miami because of the Texans' safety issues. On the back end. And I think they'll be able to exploit that. And I think we could see some big plays, because every team has tried it. Like the book is out. The book is out. And when Miami played D'Amico in 2022, they did lose that game. But I know whenever you went back and watch the film, there's a lot of opportunities left out there. And D'Amico strikes me more of a guy as we're gonna out execute you and go from there. I don't see him as a guy that's gonna be like, oh well, we're gonna completely vamp everything and change it.
Well, I didn't think it was possible, but you got me more excited for this game come Sunday. I'm looking for a big Dolphins win. Texans reporter for ESPN. I should say, is his name on social at DJ Bien-Aime. DJ, appreciate you, man. Enjoy that beautiful Houston sun and that dog you got hanging out there behind you, my friend.
No problem. Right now it's like 50-some degrees, so the sun ain't that beautiful.
Hey, it's cooler here too, so we're actually enjoying it. Take care, DJ. Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Back in the Baptist Health Studios, we have converted today into the film room to take a look at Dolphins' first-round pick, Chop Robinson, and what a rookie year this draft pick is having for your Miami Dolphins. Going to go ahead and take a look at 3 plays and 3 specific things that we're looking at here with Chop on this tape. Number 1, the amount of attention he is commanding in double teams this year has been off the charts. Also, how the Dolphins can get to their sim pressure look with the rest of their defensive line because of his ability around the edge, and also the use of his hands. Take a look at that. Good pause right there. Little patty cake action. If you can't get to his chest plate, you can't block him. Get the hands off of him. Get that double team thwarted. Now we have a tackle who has not taken a deep enough set right here, so Chop running this angle is going to be able to close on this quarterback and force a quick pressure that forces the ball out hot. Dolphins can rally and tackle to keep the Raiders out of the end zone and force them to kick a field goal. Let's go ahead and go back right here and take a look at how Chop gets off the ball, fires out of his stance, engages the tight end who wants to chip in, doesn't allow him to get to the chest plate. Go ahead and work around that move, get upfield, and then you have another player you have to beat. Look at the angle he dips right there and gets under that tackle. That is impossible to get a hand on that type of pass rusher when he can dip that low and run the angle and arc back to the quarterback, force the ball out hot. A little bit of an off-target throw because of the pressure, rally up and tackle. On to the next. Let's go ahead and take a look at this play against the New England Patriots once again, or actually rather this is going to be a one-on-one matchup for Chop Robinson. Now the running back is in the formation to this side, so he might have to deal with Chip right there. But as you're going to see as this play rolls out right here, they're going to use that back to go ahead and scan protect inside. So Chop does get his one-on-one, and what does he do besides fly off the football? Go ahead and take a look at the hands once again. No strike in the chest plate, bend the corner, and meet at the quarterback there with your friend Zach Sieler for an incomplete pass. Let's go ahead and take a look at the end zone angle here and get an appreciation for how Chop can line up so wide right here off the football. They allow him to do this because all the Dolphins like to do, or one of the things they like to do, is to run different games where you're going to have guys like Quentin Bell here slant inside and Anthony Walker pick outside. You're going to have a mugged up linebacker who can rush the A-gap on either side. And Zach Sieler, one of the best stunt players in the league, or one of the best pick stunts where he can kind of pick a player and create gaps for other guys. All of this works so well because of Chop's speed around the edge and how it creates these one-on-one isolation blocks that, quite frankly, most tackles can't handle. Let's go ahead and take a look at his hands one more time. See the way he fights off the tackle's hands? If you can't get his chest plate, you can't get him to the ground. So Chop can go ahead and get around the corner there. And then once that move happens, see that move where he dips that shoulder inside and gets around the edge? You just can't block what you can't see, and you get under the tackle's shoulder, angle back to the quarterback, meet there alongside. That wasn't Zach Sieler, that was Quentin Bell meeting with Chop at the quarterback, forces another incomplete pass. So after he got the pressure being single blocked, the Patriots going to go ahead and give him some more attention with this tight end who is playing a nasty split in close to the formation right there. That's all that term means. Your wide tight end going to give your attention to the pass rusher here with some help because, well, we couldn't block him one-on-one. Let's try to help him. But there's those hands again. Look at those hands. Just look at him. You're not going to be able to block the guy if he's going to swipe your hands like that. Chop has been so good at getting hands off the chest plate and keeping himself clean to give him access to these types of rushes. Now this right tackle saying that didn't do a whole lot. Now I have to deal with the speed and the hands, which we're going to do both those again to angle back to the quarterback and get him down to the ground for a sack. I am so fired up to watch this play. Let's go ahead and take it back one more time. So swipe the hands of the tight end, angle into the tackle, set him up for a good pass rush move here, and then once you see him kind of coming into that set high, like you see this, the hip pad's pretty high up off the ground right there. So we're gonna go ahead and sink around that, dip that inside shoulder, and from this position, you're not gonna block him. This quarterback has no chance. Angle back to the quarterback. It is elite speed, elite athletic ability, the way he can dip the corner and get to the quarterback. He has all the traits of a top-tier pass rusher. This is why he is near the top of the charts in pass rush win rate right now and pressure rate across the NFL. Chop Robinson getting it done here. Baptist Health Studios, film breakdown, Chop Robinson having a stellar rookie season. That wraps up another edition of Dolphins HQ here in the Baptist Health Studios. You know the drill. Be sure to check out the Draft Time podcast with yours truly and the Fish Tank podcast. Subscribe to the Dolphins YouTube channel for new episodes of Mic'd Up, Game Speed recaps, Coach McDaniel breakdowns, media availabilities, and much more from all your favorite players. Enjoy an exciting week 15 in the NFL, and we'll see you back here next week.